Greetings everyone and welcome back to the Horde. I'm Miss All Dragon, and if you couldn't tell, this isn't my usual kind of video. It's a speed paint, yes, but I wanted to first show the steps I use to make art. This video isn't scripted and I just woke up, so if I am tired, that's why. So my art first starts like this, and I usually use a pencil like this. A standard number 2 pencil will also work. After that, I start on details, like the eyes, and then go on to the rest of the body, adding the important things like wings or horns or hair. Then I start on the next one. This can take hours or minutes depending. I put in the details for that and hopefully it looks good. I then start on the next one. She was the hardest, as Princess Celestia is a very interesting pony. I also took close-up pictures so you could see what I was doing. These traditional drawings took me about 2 days to get done because I was very busy. Next, we put in the wings and the background. After all that's done, it's line art time. Line art can take a bit, but hopefully it looks good. Gotta clean up the lines from where I traditionally sketched it, and I usually eraser like this. But really, any eraser will do. After that, put in the black spots where they need to go, and I usually use an ink pen like this. Well, a permanent marker rather. After that, it's actually to the digital art for the speed paint. Now this took me about an hour and a half to do, and it wasn't exactly easy as I kept jumping around and had to find a pace, or pattern rather, to do the art in. It's more than just drawing over your art that you've already done traditionally. It's also making sure everything looks good and changing what doesn't to make it look better in, well, your opinion. The only person you're drawing for is you when you first start, and I'm not exactly a professional. I'm just trying to make myself happy with these drawings. This art is actually for an audio drama that I'm doing too. So hopefully they look good, and I personally like the way they turned out, but you know, and when I say they, I mean the entire drawings I did. Because I've done 2 before this one, and this is just the one I recorded because I wanted to show people how I do art. Since they may not know where to start, like I didn't know where to start when I was younger, and I didn't know that you just grab a pencil and started. I just thought that people were good and they were keeping secrets from me, but really, no. They only had more practice, and I didn't have a lot of practice, which is why they were better at art than I was. So I've gotten this video so people know where to start, or where I start at least. Usually circles and planning out where you want to go with the piece. I also recommend watching other people's speed paints when you're learning how to draw, so you can see how other people do it and you can pick up what you like from it. Like maybe you like a person's shading, so you take what they do and you shade that way. Or maybe you like that I do traditional because you don't have a tablet. I don't have a tablet. So you take that I do traditional and you do traditional and then do the line art over it. That's completely fine. Anyway, maybe I should get back to talking about the piece of art that it is instead of how I do art. This piece, while I can't reveal anything story-wise, was actually a lot of fun to do. I had never drawn these 3 together, and I don't think I had ever drawn Princess Luna before this, except for a redesign I did for the story. But I can't tell you anything else besides that. I also think I made Princess Luna look a bit almond-shaped, and I didn't mean to, so I'm gonna try and avoid that in the future. I'm sorry, there was a pause there. I was taking a breath and I should have just paused the recording so you wouldn't have to hear that. I'm sorry. Twilight gave me a lot of trouble with the eyes since I tried to make her look nervous, but I think I just made her look crazy instead. The head shape was a bit difficult to get down, but I think I managed in the end. Though I don't like the way her crown turned out. It's not the greatest. You can also tell in the traditional one, I made her horn point downwards, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that with unicorns. Not usually. You can also tell I didn't like how her little hair was turning out there with the chip, I guess, in it. So I went back and did it differently from traditional, and that's completely fine. You can do it differently than you would normally do in traditional. You can see her cheek is up against her eye there, and that happens in cartoons. I don't know if I pulled it off with the other eye. I think I should have tried a bit harder. Maybe I just made her look insane. I don't know exactly. I had to get an eraser down a little. It was on 15 and I put it on 7 and then 3. Yeah, you can see how everything's starting to come together now. Honestly, I think that with line art, I'm not too bad at it because line art is pretty fun for me. Even in digital, I don't have too much trouble, and things usually look a bit different than in traditional. You can make things look sharper in digital than you can in traditional. I made Celestia's wings go down as an indicator of her mood being down, but I don't know if I got that across right. Maybe I should have made them droop a bit more, but I'm not quite sure. This is why you usually have a drink when you record, so your throat doesn't get dry. You could see I went back there and got her nostril because I had forgotten it before, and then I started on Celestia's legs when I hadn't finished the hair, so I went back to finish Luna's hair and then go back to these legs. I tried to make them as straight as possible, and you probably heard my phone buzz. I'm not going back and recording that because this is too much already, but I will try and break it up more so you don't have to worry about hearing buzzing again. Okay, so I went back to the legs, and honestly Celestia's legs were a bit weird, but not as weird as Luna's were, to be honest. I went back to the hair. Honestly, Celestia's hair isn't that bad. I had a harder time with the shape of Twilight's hair. I'm easier with the flowy hair. It's easier to get down because it's just wavy and flowy, and you don't have to worry too much about the shape of it so long as it looks like it's flowing. Whereas with stagnant hair, it has a specific shape you have to get right. You can probably tell I had a little trouble with this necklace, I think that is, that Luna wears. I also had trouble with the moon. I'm not very good at shapes, apparently. When it's slightly good, I consider it done, because I am not an artist. I try, but I am not an artist. I'm actually a writer if I was anything. I try and make videos, but you know, I don't think they turn out too well sometimes. Sometimes I think they do. The hair for Luna was actually pretty easily to do, in my opinion. Her wings weren't too difficult either. I originally wanted to have them closed, but then I thought, well, she's not usually seen with her wings closed. She usually has them open, at least when I have seen her. So I put her wings open instead. You can probably tell that I'm not good at drawing wings, but I'm actually really proud of Luna's wings here, because they aren't too bad, all things considered. I've had harder times drawing wings, and these turned out pretty decent, I think. Keyword there being I think. That's keywords. That was 2 words. Anyway, you can probably tell that the feathers were a bit difficult. Oh, they weren't the hardest part of this piece to get down. I had a much harder time with Twilight's hair than those wings. As well as Luna's body, which you'll probably see really soon. I need to work on doing horse bodies as I'm not very good at them. As well as their legs. I usually put their hind legs a bit too far up. Yeah, you can probably see that here where Luna's body looks a bit awkward and weird, but I just went with it because that's not bad for me. Celestia's body does look better, but sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I'm still learning art. I'm accepting this. I do need to work on shading as I'm not very good with shading. I hardly ever shade pieces at all. And that's for a specific reason, which I'll bring up later. Right now, I'm just doing the line art, and I'm getting to the near end of Luna's line art, so that means I'll have to start working on the background, which I hopefully didn't make too complex. It certainly doesn't seem like it to me, but you know. Adding the second waviness of, not Twilight, Luna's hair, which you can tell why later in the video if you haven't seen Luna. Also, sorry for my really monotone voice. It's something I need to work on, and I know this. Here you can see me starting to work on the stained glass window, and I just wanted to make it kind of oval shaped, like an egg, where it's rounder at the bottom and more pointed towards the top. And I hope I got that across, but I'm not quite sure. With a background that's like this, you can kind of be a bit wonky and weird with it, since it's a stained glass window, and I don't particularly have any sort of way it's supposed to be. It was just supposed to be a stained glass window in general, not anything specific. So I guess I just went kind of weird with it and just let it go because I didn't care too much. And honestly, sometimes you just gotta have fun with it and let go like that. If you're not having fun with art, why you do it, you know? And here we are with the coloring. I struggle with this a lot, and some of you might know, some of you might not know. The reason I struggle with coloring so much is because I'm actually colorblind, and being colorblind makes it difficult to get colors perfect or close to perfect. So I try my best, but who knows, I might get it right, I might get it wrong. As long as it looks semi-decent on a coloring job, I'll be pretty happy. Anyway, you might see me pause every now and then, and that's because I'm picking out new music to listen to while doing the art. While doing art, you can listen to music and it can be really nice. Personally, I like to do it, but if you don't, that's completely understandable. I also recommend if you do listen to music, then you listen to something you like. It doesn't matter if it has lyrics or not unless you're writing, then I recommend you write to music that does not have lyrics. I actually got that writing tip from someone that writes for a living, so take it, don't, you do you. Luna has a very dark palette and it's close to blue but not quite blue. It was difficult to get the correct blue down. And then you can see me doing some more coloring in between where everything's so small you can't hardly see it. So excuse me, I burped. I probably shouldn't tell you that, but I did, and it's too late to tell you I haven't. So while coloring is difficult for me, it's also not very difficult. It can actually be a lot of fun and really easy, since it's just taking the paint bucket and putting it in the lines, and then fixing up any little spots with the pen or pencil or whatever. It can be really easy and also really hard. Picking out the colors is difficult for me. Actually putting them on the piece, super easy traditionally and digitally, I think. It's because traditionally you can put it down and put it around the edges and it'll look a bit easier with shading, and that could be a really nice effect. Right there you can see I made that layer a bit, see-through? That's not the word that it uses, but that's the word that I'm using. You can see here I tried to get spots on Luna's hair that would look like stars, but I had a hard time, so I moved to a different brush and shrank it down. I also put it around her necklace because her necklace has those starry spots too. I would put them around her hooves, but her hooves aren't visible. And then I realized that I needed a new song, so I went there, and then next was Celestia. And boy howdy, Celestia's hair. It's really fun to do, but it can also be really difficult because she's got 4 colors in her hair. And that can sometimes be stressful. So I went back and forth between using a smaller brush size and a bigger brush size so I could get details on the waviness, but still put in the spots where I could not put the paint bucket in, like with Luna's hair there. I tried that earlier and you probably saw the fallout of that. So I went back and just had to color it in with the brush or pen or whatever, which can sometimes lead to details being missed, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I probably missed spots and you probably saw them in the video, but I'm too tired. I'm not gonna go back and paint them again. Anyway, as you can tell, this is a purplish pink color. Well, I hope you can tell. Oh, I hope you can tell. Otherwise, I just made a fool of myself because of the next color coming up is supposed to be more pinkish. And I did the paint bucket thing again. You can tell that Luna's hair is see-through because of Celestia's hair behind it, at least right there. I think it's nice touch, but I don't know. Maybe it's not a good one and I shouldn't do it again. I hope to get feedback on this. Anyway, after all that's done, I have to go back and do Celestia's crown like this, and then her eyes, which are very pink. Ta-da! After all that, there's the cutie mark, which I had to double check on the color and make sure I got right, which I didn't at first. And then there was the details on Celestia before checking for a new song, fixing up the background so I could paint it properly, and then getting the colors. I tried to do symbolism thing with the window there, but I don't know if I pulled it off correctly. Next was the wall, which I had to block off, otherwise Celestia would be blue like that there. And after this, that would be the end of the video, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye everyone, thanks so much for watching, have a great rest of your day, so long!